source of viewers, do you find? Or do you track any of the others? Does anybody listen on, you know,
On iTunes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look at the iTunes numbers. I haven't looked at them in a while, but yeah, people. I mean, people listen on iTunes and people watch on YouTube, and
I feel the afternoon one in particular is more visual, particularly when you're digging deep into a subject. So it's better viewed with YouTube.
Yeah, well, it's definitely exactly. Well, it's code based, right? So you kind of need to look at the screen or at least download the code and follow along. Whereas this is definitely more, you could podcast it for sure. So that's actually an interesting topic because I haven't, as of yet, I haven't added the After Dark sessions into the main podcast feed for Corona Geek because I wasn't sure what our format was going to be like and all that kind of stuff like that. So I haven't blended the two together. So so we have room for that as well. Like I can start doing that. I mean, so right now those are basically anything that's on Corona Geek After Dark is strictly through YouTube. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those numbers could probably be better through iTunes and stuff. Better is a relative term.
Well, how are you feeling about our format now, Charles? You feel like it's got broad spectrum appeal, all four quadrants?
I like it. I like that we're like you just said. Somebody said that they felt like they're eavesdropping on a personal conversation. I like that. That's quite honestly, that's what I would like the Monday shows to be like. But because we cover code, it's hard to do that, right? It's hard to like jump into
it still
like.
Feels casual though, I think.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I think it's nice that it does feel like two different properties, though. I feel like.
Right.
Not just more of the Monday afternoon call.
Right, sure. And there have been people who said they like the code. They want more how-tos, right? So it's kind of hard to please everybody in one particular show.
Which we say,
Ed's guy would be more personable, it'd probably be just fine.
Right. Yeah. What?
Ed, you should have like a around the horn style backdrop where you like change the books around every week. So there's like
that'd be worth my time.
I see Guarded Secrets right
now. He doesn't even show us what he looks like.
You hear that? 105 people watched this last week, Ed. You need to start broadcasting to all your Patreons, or whatever they're called. Patreonians?
Somebody told me that. Why is this not working?
Patreonians? Patreons? Patreon? Patrons. Is that what it is? Is that what they call them?
Why is this not working, man?
No, you blew it, Ed.
That's because I'm an idiot.
What's going on?
What's
not working?
Go crazy now. I'm working on a game while you're talking to me.
Ah.
They're like, what are you doing, Ed?
Are you able to show and tell?
Sure? Nah. Oh, that's too much.
You're just teasing us. You're just titillating without.
You ever watch Zay Frank?
Yeah.
No, it's that.
No. Oh man. Oh dude. Here's a link in the chat. Coming your way. Zay Frank is.
I don't know Zay Frank.
He is hilarious, man. He's I don't even know how you describe him, but he's a highly creative guy, and he's got the Zay Frank 1 YouTube channel.
I got to show you the one that I think is the best.
10 million views.
It's so hard. It's so hard to figure out which one's the best. I mean, they're just incredible. But anyway, you mentioned bookshelves, and he hasn't done it in a while, but he has a series of videos where he's standing in front of a bookshelf, and he's just sort of brain dumping, right? Just this extreme of consciousness, and behind him are objects and books. And they change out periodically, and they're always like you're always looking behind him to see what's there and kind of interpret what he's trying to say to you through those books. It's cool.
I will say, so I'm watching this video you posted a link to, but the sound's down on it, so it really just looks like an owl documentary. I'm sure the humor comes from.
It does. It does. It totally comes from the commentary because if you watch it, it's all just. I don't know where he gets his sources and stuff, but it might just be owl documentary clips. But if he puts them together, it's just hilarious.
Yeah.
That's right. That's how the owl do. I mean, it's just.
How about a letter from? I posted the link to it there if you don't remember,
Join
but
select
I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Are we gonna do comedy suggestions right now? Because I think that's an amazing idea.
You know, I was going to ask,
We
are
got
there
two
any
cases,
developers?
one who's frozen and one who's hidden.
Are there any developers that you follow and why? Because I definitely have at least one that I can think of now, and one that I'd have to find.
You mean like developers that do vlogs or blogs? Or
Yeah, you know, on social media, like on Tumblr or on Google Plus or Facebook.
Oh, shit, I got a bunch. If we're gonna
Yeah?
start talking about.
Well, let's share
I mean,
them up. Let's see here.
I don't mess with Facebook because it's lame, but I much prefer Twitter just because I have the attention span to be reading through Facebook posts and then at the end it's like, killing it, bruh. Like, I can't read those.
See, I'm a huge fan of Twitter. I've become a huge fan of Twitter, but I'm a huge fan of Twitter because I closely guard my follower count, or my following count. Because if you follow too many people, I just go like, I want to be able to check in since the last time I checked in, and know if there's too much, my inner like, oh, I got to see everything. If I'm following 1,000 people, that's gonna go crazy. And if you're selective about who you follow, Twitter's this great little way to like pop open your phone and be like, I'm going to see a link to something cool in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, I tell you, one of my favorite activities, man, is going through and just dumping people on social media.
What does that mean?
I mean, just like
shit on them or something?
no, not dumping on them, but just unfollowing them. I'm like, you haven't done anything for me in a while. You haven't done anything for me in a while. I don't even know who you are.
Oh my God. I don't even know who you are. You sound like Jack Palance.
I am weirdly, yeah. I have weird Twitter like followees. I don't know what you would call friends. I think they call it.
Yeah, right.
Like I used to follow, one of the co-founders of Corona Labs, Carlos.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlos is probably worth following. He at the time at least had some cool things. And then he went to some event and he live blogged it through his friggin' Twitter feed. And it
Are you talking about
like,
the arm wrestling thing?
This was years ago, and it was like I would, my normal thing is I'll check in on Twitter, and there should be, since the last time I checked in, any number of dozens of things that I can scroll through and see. Then it was like 3 dozen, 4 dozen little updates from some event, and I was like, oh, I can't.
A lot of times people do tend to like drift into PR territory, and they don't like it's news to them, but then you're like, wait, this is just. Like, I follow Carlos and I follow Peach. If you guys don't follow Peach, she doesn't really tweet that often, but I always feel like her stuff is kind of.
What's the deal with
kind of
it? They sold their company.
They
right?
sold it to, what is it, Black Shell Media?
Did they keep working with it, or did they just give it away and go?
No, they're still. I guess she became like the CFO, the CEO, the COO, or something like that. She's got a C-level title. I mean, whatever the hell that means these days. Yeah. Like, who gives a shit? Like, I'm the CEO of my company. Like, that doesn't impress me at all.
But I got all those positions.
Right, exactly. Like, I don't care what you are. That always makes me mad if people are like, yeah, the CEO, I'm the CEO of this, that, or the other.
If you're both the CEO and the janitor, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not as impressive.
Exactly. So we're doing a Follow Tuesday over here. I don't know if you guys know who Noel is, but he did Skytorn, or does Skytorn. Which is a really sweet. Oh, am I muted? No, good.
No.
Okay, good. It's a really sweet platformer. I don't know if you guys follow him or not. Sounds like you don't.
Mm-hmm.
He's super sweet. He actually posts a lot of really cool stuff. He actually had a 10 tweet long, quick advice update because people are always getting in touch. And I guess this probably you guys hear this too. People are always getting in touch with him like, how do I become a developer? Like, what's the best way to can I have some advice on how to make it as a independent developer? And I think the best nugget that he threw out was people don't care where you went to school, which I think we can all agree on, I guess, at this point in our lives. Like, at this point, we're talking about your portfolio. It's 99%. Like, people don't care if you went to MIT or, Montgomery County Community College or whatever. Like, if you can produce, that's really all they care about. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Thomas Knoppers is another. I think he's Belgian. I forget.
I wonder if that'll come around though with the education thing, as more and more programs that cater to. Yeah, because ours is an industry that sort of arose out of Moxie, You know, it's like you didn't need a specific education path to it because, like you said, you know, results matter, and that'll always be the case. I mean, results will always speak, but I wonder if, you know, as universities start to catch up and start to have programs that do feed into this more directly, if it'll become more of an on-ramp.
Do you think it? I don't think it's. I think it's great the way it is now. As a matter of fact, I'd like to see less centralization as far as the way education impacts your prospective job career. Like, as far as I'm concerned, unless you're going to be a doctor or, God forbid, a lawyer. Like, if you're going to be a lawyer, jump off a cliff. But if you're going to be a doctor, then you should definitely be going to school, right? Like, other than that, like, you can go to a trade school to be a plumber, HVAC, like, to be a mechanic, and you can just start.
See, I don't know. This is an interesting thought though, because I know, and I went to school for theater, so I thought I was going to, and I have worked in the theater, not as an actor, but I thought I was going to be an actor at the beginning of it all. But I will say this: that's an area where, yeah, sure. Listen, you don't need to go to school, but I think there is real value in approaching art as a craft. You know, and I would never say to anybody that they have to go to school for something like that, but I do think there's real value to that. So I don't know.
I completely agree with you, Jason. And here is where I kind of get hung up. I've got a really good friend. His name is Brian. He's an amazing guy. We always have this debate: which would you rather be, an artist or a craftsman? Because in my mind, I feel like they're mutually exclusive. I feel like a craftsman is somebody who produces artwork. Well, it might not, you know, you're producing on a large scale and, you know, not mass produced necessarily, but you're putting out product. Not every piece is going to be perfect. Not every piece is going to be perfect, but you're producing. You're trying to provide for the marketplace here. You're trying to engage in capitalism. An artist is going to be polishing and refining and smoothing out this one project, and they're going to put out, you know, one piece every 10 years. That's obviously, you know, that's an umbrella term, what I'm going for here. But I feel like when you're a craftsman, I completely agree. Approaching art as a craft is what people should do. But people approach crafts as an art, and then they don't actually produce anything, and therefore they're nothing. Like, there are thousands of indie developers that just say they're indie developers, but they haven't developed anything.
I might be one of them.
Hey, social poetry is the hot shit. Don't put super tight.
By the end of the year, I'll have at least one more actually out there. But
and your Screenshot Saturday app I think is going to be super cool. I mean,
it's really getting close.
Yeah, Ed, how many people have you met that are like that? That are just like, oh yeah, I'm an independent game developer. Like, you know, I do this, that, or the other thing. And you're like, oh yeah, what have you put out? And they say, well, I'm working on something right now. It's like, all right. Well, I'm working on 1,000 things right now. I'm working on buying the New York Yankees. It doesn't make me own the New York Yankees. I'm not a person.
That would make you a hobbyist.
When are you gonna own?
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a hobbyist. I think, you know, it's become weirdly pejorative, you know, in the sort of modern do-it-yourself era of things. But I think there's nothing wrong with having a hobby. I think it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like. And that can be fluid. I think you can be a hobbyist who ends up releasing something and makes that turn.
I completely agree.
But
100%.
I love this picture. What the hell is that little thing in the middle?
Is that a guy or is that the haystack?
I don't know. That's
all the
hilarious.
flesh of the guy jumps on.
It's hilarious.
This guy Paul is a lightning rod. He's opinionated, but he's usually pretty on point. He's a good dude, this guy, I think.
Oh yeah, there you go. And you put the cows underwater. So same scene, just underwater. It's awesome.
Boy, pixel art.
Super plugs over here.
Has this been the same site all along that you've been going through? Because it went from not pixel art to now pixel art.
I went from this guy.
Okay, yeah. Who at the beginning of his thing, did he have a Power Stone image? Did I see at the beginning?
Ooh, Power Stone.
You guys remember Power Stone?
For the Dreamcast, right?
Yeah, the Dreamcast was such a good system.
It was, man. I love that. I used to kick the shit out of my brother at Virtua Tennis. That game was so good. God. Like, the mechanics were so tight. Did you ever play that, Jay?
Virtua Tennis?
Yeah.
No, I've never been super into sports video games.
I hate sports video games. I never.
Okay, let's linger on this one for a minute, Charles. Go back, because that's. I see a Dr. Phil.
Yeah, there's like Snoop Dogg's there. Hilarious.
And Moses. It's like a motley crew there.
And that's Ron Jeremy right there with the dildo. Very nice.
Where's that? Oh,
it's a hedgehog, bro.
Yeah, that's like Where's Waldo, but where's the other thing?
Where's the other thing?
Well, Waldo, you figure it out.
That's what I say to my son when we're trying to toilet train him. It's the other thing.
That's a cool looking. That's
sorry.
No, that's
yeah.
That guy is tight, man. He does great work. I follow tons. I really enjoy pixel art, and so I follow a bunch of them. Pixel artists, that is.
Oh, see, this makes me go. I really do need to release that screenshot Saturday because it's going to have several hashtags that you can follow, and you can sort of switch them off and on and have a combination of them. And one of them will be like pixel art, and so it'll be a really cool way to just sort of find something new. I hope. In a different way.
So the Twitter plugin has image sharing now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Which it sort of did before, but it wasn't very easy in the sense that it didn't take any of the heavy lifting off of your shoulders like I wanted the plugin to do. So now it, will convert an image file into multi-part form data and all the rest of that, and it needs to get better. It still doesn't have super easy support of the Twitter or the media/upload endpoint, and that's sort of that's how you're gonna right now you can upload images, but you couldn't upload say an MP4. But I want to be able to do that, and again you can. The plugin does not make that part of it super duper easy for you right now, so that's going to be my next step.
So now you can do the Screenshot Saturday thing, right?
Well, the Screenshot Saturday thing already worked because it's sort of. I wasn't uploading anything particular. It was more you're pulling.
Well, what are you missing from that app to go ahead and push it out? I've made it my point every week now to.
No, it's good. It's good to be pushed on it.
Because I think it's great.
Just some UI stuff, a little navigation, some settings, and just a little bit of polish. There's a few things that I just want to make it easy to sort of. I don't know. You need to add buttons that look good for following a person. I want to add I'm debating what to call it, like a suitcase or a file or a drawer where you can sort of save images that you like, either for offline viewing or just maybe, yeah. I guess they could give the option of saving it. It might, if you save thousands of them, I suppose it could take up storage on the device. But at the very least, I would save a reference to the tweet. That way you can, if you go say, hey, let me see my favorites, again. So none of this is super duper complex. It's just because because I have the day job and a couple of client projects that have to take precedence, it just sort of gets sidelined a little bit, and it just never. But that's my thing, right? It's like anything. There was a great quote. It was a Twitter quote, and this is by a developer I follow. They're called Size 5 Games now, I think. They're the guys who did Been There, Dan That a couple of years ago, and they actually have a new game that I think it's PC only right now, so I haven't gotten it because I would have to run it in emulation. But it's called The Swindle, which looks really cool. And he had this awesome tweet, and I'm paraphrasing it poorly, but it was like when you first start on a project, it's all like, oh yeah, what color are the guns gonna be? And and when it gets down to the end, it's like, okay, well, I need to pick, and that's where I'm at. So it's
you got the guns all set. You just need to figure out.
The getting the functionality of it was super fun, and it happens really fast. And then for me at least, it's like, okay, well, before I release it, I've got to do all these little, and it's not the fun stuff, you know what I mean? It's the stuff that's plotting, but I do think it is the stuff that
polishing and tweaking and.
I think it's the stuff that makes the difference between something somebody downloads and goes and deletes it, or something that somebody keeps. And I think it's those little things. So,
hey,
Michael has played the Swindle. It looks like I see from the chat. Can we coax you into unmuting your mic, Michael?
He's been here for a little bit quietly.
He's probably working.
Well, while
Hey,
he doesn't want to talk. So I wanted to ask this though, with when you're talking about polishing at the end of a project, like how do you guys go through your dev sprints and things like that? Do you make sure everything is how do you outline your stuff? Like, do you have a skeleton to start off with? Do you have just a wireframe and then go from there? Do you have a full, fleshed out development track that you can refer to throughout your cycle? And do you fly by the seat of your pants?
All of the above. Depends.
I would say for client projects, I'm more disciplined, partly because I want them to provide me with a blueprint to work off of and all of that. Right. When it's me doing my own thing, I fly by the seat of my pants a little bit more. Which can be valuable if you have the bandwidth and the time to do it, because sometimes you discover things in that process. But it's not going to work for everything.
Well, and I have to agree with that. Doing client work, they need to be providing me specifications, or else you're just jumping into a black hole that you're never going to dig yourself out of. But for my personal apps, a lot of it just starts out with experimentation, trying some ideas, and it's like, oh, this is a cool idea. Let me see if I can wrap an app around it. And then, at some point you do kind of sketch out the features that you want to have in version 1 and decide a cutoff point, because if you add everything, you get into something called scope creep.
Feature creep, Rob, we were just talking about that last time.
They'll never get published. And so, you have to come up with that set of what's acceptable in the first version and work to get that done. And, once you have an idea, like the very first Corona game I did was a space shooter, and I was frustrated because all the other games I was working on were hitting roadblocks of some form or fashion. And I decided I just was frustrated and I wanted to blow stuff up. So I downloaded some asteroid graphics and a spaceship graphic and spent an afternoon, blowing things up, and I'm going, hey, I can actually make a game out of this. But then once you get into it, you get down to the final part, it's like, oh, yeah, I need to add high scores. Oh, yeah, I need to add Game Center.
Do you have that written out eventually, or are you just in your mind saying, man, I got to do that? They mental notes.
I'm kind of more of a mental person, but sometimes I will actually make lists of things that need to get done, particularly bugs. Not so much the features, but once I come through and say, okay, I need to fix this, I need to fix that, and sometimes I'll make a punch list just so I can mark them off and know that I've gotten through them.
I am a big punch lister for sure when I'm working. Even one of my fly by the seat of my pants projects, if I notice something that I need, I keep in the root file folder of all my projects a punch list.txt file, and I definitely work from that. It's sort of like, for me at work, my inbox is my to-do list. So if my inbox has more than 12 things in it at any one time, I freak out. And it's the same way for me with that punch list. It sort of keeps you focused, and it really does give you. So there are days when you're just going to want to, I'm just going to sit down, I'm going to experiment, I'm going to have some fun, we're just going to see what happens. And then there are days where you're not. It's a really good way to feel super focused, to be like, you know what, I'm going to sit down for 2 hours and I'm going to bang out 3 of these things or 4 of these things, and at the end of it you feel really good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree with you there. I was just kind of curious how you guys did it, because normally I might like a mechanic, and I say, I kind of like the way this is, it could probably turn into a game, and then I start writing out a full-on development track where I want it to go, at what point I want to get this done and that done. I mean, rarely do that might be terrible because all these projects are in various states of completion. So I'm not saying that that's the right way to go. I was just curious. Obviously, it doesn't help me with actually getting shit done, but it does help me with.
Sometimes I'll do a little thing if I've got a a project that is nearing enough completion that it could be a thing. I will buy the domain name for the site that I'm going to have for it, and I feel like that's putting something.
Here we go with the domain name.
Oh my God!
No,
Jason.
but it's true. But I feel like it's saying this is something tangible. This is something real. People can actually go and look at this website. So it's not just on my laptop anymore.
Wait, do you buy the domain and throw up assets? You throw up like actual like.
Oh, it depends. I did for my Cairo reboot that I'm working on. It looks
so
like crap
ballsy.
right now.
I'm in awe. That's a ballsy move. Like I said, that's like, oh man, now I have to do it. All right, well maybe that's a good way to go. I should start doing that.
By the way, I put a link in the chat to the tweet that I was talking about. It says when you start a game, it's all yeah. What color will the guns be? And at the end, it's all why is this menu displaying incorrectly?
Hey, guys, I know I just joined, but before we go off track, I'd like to say, Jason, thank you for putting your time in and get the Twitter.
Hey, no worries. Thank you for putting the bee in my bonnet.
You know, fucking fantastic. Sorry for my swearing, but yeah.
You don't apologize for swearing around here, bro.
No, I appreciate it. That's really it's good. It's something that was, and I didn't even really know it was missing that. I didn't even really think so much about it when I first released it, but it was an omission. So I appreciate the and I want to say there wasn't any hard pressure from the community, but you know, a number of people, yourself included, were sort of like, hey, this would be really cool. And then when I said, okay, well, I'll get to it when I can. I don't know. Everybody was really super cool about that. Nobody pressured me. But the idea got planted. You know, it's one of those things we sit down, and it was really just a few hours of just sort of. And to somebody who really wraps their brain around OAuth and multi-part better than me, it probably wouldn't have even taken that long. But I'm tinkering with it till it works.
Oh man, you know, like I said, I mean, yesterday you replied to my message and you said, you know, it's going to take, you know, at least a week or a couple of weeks or whatever. So I was playing with the multi-part thing because I didn't realize you had to do that until you replied to me and saying, right, this is never going to work because you have to pass it to the multi-part thing. And then I was getting into that and I just, it's such a headache. And I was like, you know what, right, I'm going to play with this for the next like couple of weeks until you figure out how to get it wrong. And then today I got the email saying, oh yeah, he replied to this thing, and I was like, hey, it works.
Right on.
I must say, I'm really happy with it.
Jay, what are you guys talking about? Are you talking about the Twitter plugin specifically,
yes.
or are you talking about like a feature of it?
Well, there's been an update now, so the Twitter.tweet API supports attaching an image to your tweet by just passing in the location, the path to an image file. And then in the Twitter request, which is the more robust version, has just easier support for a very specific Twitter endpoint, which is it's like statuses / update with media. So, you know, these are all things that I'm pretty sure if you did a lot of the heavy lifting in your own code, you probably could have gotten to work without an update to the plugin, but it wouldn't have been pretty or neat or easy the way you want a plugin to be. So now it is.
I don't know if you've seen my reply to it, where I tweet with a specific value. So that can either be a level or a level or a high score or whatever.
I did see that.
Yeah. You know, it's quite obvious, but people will still ask the same question, won't they? Yeah.
Yeah, no. And I've got speaking, we were talking about punch lists earlier. I do have a punch list of a few other features that people have requested that seem like really good ideas that I hope to sort of get in there. But this was one that just seemed like a glaring omission, and a number of people had mentioned it, and it was just sort of like, like I said, I had sort of given myself, I was like, I'll get to it when I get to it, and it just sort of, you ever get one of those little things that just sort of,
Yeah, just nibbles at your brain.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, well, let's just, and I sat down, and in 20 minutes I started making headway, and that turns into an hour, and that turns into a couple hours, and then it's done. So it all worked out.
Right, so I don't want to derail your conversation because it just came in just now, right?
Please, you refocused it on Corona development.
Then fair enough. But in that perspective, right, could you just explain your workflow in terms of what you've done? You know, just to explain, because I was mucking about with it, or and I couldn't get it working. Obviously, because the plugin didn't.
Yeah, I mean, well, you were trying to make it work with the plugin, whereas I was editing the plugin itself. Yeah. So, I mean, essentially, I added, cribbed from other modules and bits of information you sort of find online. Behind the scenes within the plugin. Then I'm taking the image file that you're passing in, converting it to multi-part form data, which there are modules out there that sort of handle that. So
what's multi-part form data?
Can I tell you, this is one of those things where I'm not going to be able to describe it well. I mean, it's a different way. It's essentially converting an image file into
text,
but formatted in a very specific way. And there's headers, and there's the body, and
well, what it's used for is uploading like image information because when you actually try to upload an image is too big on its own to like send. So what it's converted into is like the base 64 string, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So with multi-part data, what it's doing is it's actually taking that base 64 information and wrapping it in additional information so that certain websites can understand what it is you're uploading, and like headers, you can actually give it additional metadata and things like that.
Yeah.
That more can be done with it. That's that's nowhere near an exhaustive explanation, and I probably got a few details wrong.
No,
that's not possible.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, the other interesting fact that it might be good to mention is that if you compare it to the Facebook uploads of a picture, which is actually they take a picture and they upload it, versus the Twitter upload of a picture, right? With Twitter is so much faster because they convert it into this multi-pass data, rather than Facebook actually just takes the picture and uploads it.
It's interesting. I hadn't really thought of it that way, but
no, it is right. So I compared it in my application, versus Twitter versus Facebook, because I need to make a decision what I'm gonna go for. And it's Twitter because it's so much faster, right? Twitter, you click on it and it's, bam, it's done it, it's uploaded. In Facebook, because it uploads the actual image, it takes so much longer. If I say it takes about 3-4 times as long, then I'm probably,
And is this in your game? Is this for like sharing a high score screen, something like that?
It's taking a screenshot.
Yeah.
Of whatever you're in. So it could be high score, it could be when you started the game, it could be when you lost the game. Sorry about that. So it's taking a screenshot and uploads that, but I found a massive difference in between upload time versus Twitter, Facebook, and Twitter is so much faster. But it's probably because it's converting it.
Is that using like social plugin or using like the Twitter?
No,
plugin?
This is your plugin.
Okay. Versus doing it in Facebook.
Versus in no plugin and just writing the code yourself.
Okay.
So just include the Facebook API.
Not to remove my usefulness of my plugin, but you might want to. I mean, if you haven't, the social plugin, at least on iOS, and I'm pretty sure for Android as well, has a really good way of using sort of the native. And then somebody could post it, could tweet it, could Facebook it, could.
Yeah, but this is the native pop-up, isn't it? So the social share kind of thing. And the last time I checked, it didn't support Twitter.
Does it not? I thought it did, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, maybe
It does
maybe.
apply to pretty much every sharing app you have on your device for the most part. I use the sharing panel for a couple of projects. Cigarette's out right now. It uses that. It's pretty good. I mean, it is true though. It's not direct, meaning like
Yeah.
There's an extra
Like
step for sure.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of user interface that needs to take place.
Yeah, but it does have Twitter. Like I've got here. I don't know if this is.
Oh, it does. Yeah, I can see that. I can see Facebook and Twitter there.
So, or
Yeah.
so.
But the other problem I walked into with Facebook is they don't allow you to pre-fill the message anymore.
Very true. Very true.
They changed their policy. So my application's been rejected now 2 times, I think, 3 times. And I said to Facebook, yeah, you know what, mate, I've done all the changes you want me to make.
I'm going to say this, and I hope nobody
mate.
from Facebook is listening.
Yeah.
You can. The app that you submit to Facebook is not necessarily the app that you're submitting to Apple. So
No, exactly. Yeah.
you can get your app approved, and then now again, if you're doing something, if you're pulling shenanigans, you're going to get reported by your users, and that's not going to fly. But
It's too much hassle. You know, they keep on saying
there's a lot of hassle involved with getting a Facebook app.
and this is only like the last couple of months because they changed their policy.
It is too much hassle. I'm 100% with you. It's not worth it.
And with Twitter, right? That's you know, I said to Facebook, right? You know, I've made these changes you want to. If you're gonna reject it one more time, then you know what, mate? I'm just gonna go with Twitter because I don't have time.
Yeah.
You got rejected by Apple?
No, by Facebook.
I'm confused.
You got rejected by Facebook because you have to submit your app when you want to use their sharing APIs?
Yes.
Oh, I see you.
I want to say that's only a year and a half old or so as of
Not even a year and a half old. This is about 4, 5, 6 months.
Well, no, I submitted an app this time last year, and I had to go through an approval process.
Right.
I want to say with Graph 2, which was last year's F8 conference, I think it was announced.
Yeah.
It's been at least a year, if not almost 2. Because
this is the first time for me, and the last application I released is about 6 months, no problem, and now I've got this problem.
It's so strange too because I'm
maybe it's location.
The notion of them protecting their users' privacy, I'm with. I get it. But I feel like they, as a platform, give so much power to their users to protect their own data. There's so many opportunities.
Yeah.
Their approval process is more frustratingly opaque than Apple's, which is frustratingly opaque.
Well, yeah. It's just upload it and then hope for the best, and then, yeah, it's okay. In terms of Facebook, they're going to reject it. If you've got a share button without their fancy logo, then they're not going to approve it.
And again, it's for a platform where if a user feels like their privacy is being breached, there are settings all over the place for that. So it seems it's very punitive in a way that I don't know ultimately protects their users. It does, but I don't know that the payoff of protection for their users is equal to the hassle for developers.
It's not all about privacy. It's about spam. I know too many people that will just simply unfriend you if you start posting. It started out in the beginning. You could write on somebody's wall to get them to download your app, and people got tired of that. So then Facebook moved it down to a small box on the page for the game invites, and then people just, all my friends, quit inviting me to games. And at what point do you respect your friends' wishes versus a desire to promote your game? And that's what Facebook is facing. Is they get a lot of negative feedback from app developers, and I'm going to single out game developers as probably the biggest spot. So that's they're trying to maintain a healthy balance of what ends up in somebody's newsfeed. So,
I mean, totally. I mean, I mean, I don't know anything about Facebook spam, obviously, so I'm speaking from ignorance. But I mean, is it really that bad? Like, what games would you say are the biggest offenders of spam? Is it like, what is it, gang wars, gangland wars, gang something, mafia wars? Is that a thing?
Mafia
No.
Wars.
It's what's it called?
I'm an old man with my mafia wars reference.
No. It's fuck, what's it called?
One of those farm games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Farmville.
City.
But again, this
Hometown.
goes to the point. I don't even know because, frankly, over the last year or two, anytime I see what I feel is a spammy post, there's a little button, and I say, "Hey, don't show me this anymore," and it doesn't show me that anymore, and so I don't see them anymore, which begs the question why Facebook is giving us all these hoops to jump through when they give very useful tools to their users to control that themselves.
Right. So let me explain my problem with Facebook and sharing to Facebook. Right. So I want a user to say share. Right. I want them to share a screenshot, which is initially is a picture, to Facebook saying, I completed this level, I'm struggling with this level, or I've downloaded this game, and they're all different screenshots, right? Because whenever they click share, it creates a screenshot, and that's what's been uploaded, right? My value really is in saying, right, I completed level 30, and here's the download link to the game. Can you do the same, right? But if Facebook tells me, well, your user can upload the screenshot, but they can't write anything, or no, they can write anything, but you can't pre-fill a link into that description, then what is my value in sharing to Facebook? Because all his mates are going to see it, but they can't click on a link and actually download the app.
I thought URL was enabled. You can't do that?
No,
anymore?
you can, but they're not approving anymore.
But it was weird. Like, okay, so you don't want the notion of not pre-filling. The optimist side of me says, well, okay, they don't want you posting things that this user wouldn't want posted to their wall. I get that.
Yeah, but surely
if it's a situation where it shows something and they can say yes or no, or it shows something and they can edit it. So, for example, if they want to share their score, it makes total sense to pre-fill it. Hey, look, I scored 1,000 points.
Even if you show a display box with the pre-filled text for the user, they will not approve it.
And they can edit it. Yeah, they still won't, and it's ridiculous.
They still not approve it.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
But then you've got games like AA, and they do exactly the same thing, and they're allowed to do it.
What's AA? I guess maybe we shouldn't give them a bump if we're angry
No,
at them.
don't give them a bump, but it's quite a big game.
We're angry
But again,
with
though,
AA.
in a case where you're seeing that, this could be a case where a developer submits one version of the app to Facebook that doesn't pre-fill a message, and then actually releases one that do. And as long as users don't complain at that point, Facebook isn't going to do anything about it.
Well,
and I think that happens a lot, and I think it's like Facebook is a wink and a nod understanding to that, which begs the question, why did they have this in the first place?
I'd rather than just go to Twitter and say, you know what, let's go with Twitter, and then, we're not going to get any complaints and get it shut down.
True.
And
I got a technical question for you guys.
yes, Ed.
Have you guys ever set up a server to send email to a game?
He's opening a bag of Ruffles. Rob?
Yeah, it's Rob.
It's me.
He's getting ready to answer the technical question. So you got a game, and you want to be able to send users their password. So it's a game with a back-end server.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm using Coronium right now. And I got a back-end server, all that good stuff, and then the user says, hey, I forgot my password, or username and password. So I have them put in their email address, and if they have a registered email address, I send the information to them. The problem is half the email clients out there reject it because they say, oh, that email is not coming from the address that you say it's coming from. Because Coronium uses SendMail, and then the server is just some server out on like DigitalOcean or Amazon. So it's just some number. It doesn't have a domain associated with it. But SendMail requires that you use a from address. So I use my roaming gamer from address, and that doesn't work. So I've tried a number of things, and none of them. I mean, it works fine. Like Gmail, you get it. Yahoo Mail, you get it. But other various emails are like, not a chance. Rejected.
Do they get a mailer daemon error or daemon, whatever? Or is it just goes into spam?
It doesn't even make it in the door. They get rejected at the gate.
So they get a mailer daemon error.
Yeah, it probably looks like it's coming from the web server.
I'll get a. Go ahead.
No, it probably looks like it's coming from the web server. It's not coming from a legitimate mail server.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know how to set it up. I'm not much of a much of a web guy. You know, I'm just like install the Coronium. I'm happy.
Are you using a PHP script to send your emails then?
Say again?
Are you using a PHP script?
No, I'm using Coronium.
Coronium's all Lua based.
Yeah.
Is it all Lua based, right? So
and it uses SendMail, the utility.
Oh, right, yeah, I got you. Right, so what you might want to do, because your passwords and your logins are stored in the database anyway. Right, so what you might want to do is then just open a web view and send it actually from a PHP script rather than from Lua.
It's an interesting idea.
You could also probably tap into some service like MailChimp or something where you could just load up your email addresses into a list and then just be able to send from there.
Yeah, I need a way to get them in there anytime they change their information now.
Also, you don't want to send them their email or their password. You want to send them a link that changes their password.
Well, it's not like a. No, I don't want to do that.
Why not?
I don't honestly want to do that. It's too much work for me. You misread how much I want them to remember. I'd rather they create a new account than have to do that.
Do you want to build in security questions instead, maybe, when they set up an account?
Questions instead, honestly. So here's what I was thinking.
Password would be the easiest thing.
Because the stupid thing is just, it's like, first of all, some people don't even give you their email address. So it's like, hey, if you don't have an email address and you forgot your account name, you're post. You're done. Finished.
Well, don't allow them to sign up without an email address.
It might not be a requirement. I mean,
is your phone gonna like explode if they don't? No, none of these things is possible.
No, it is, because you can just say, put in an email address, we're going to send you a verification link, you have to click on it.
Then I got to deal with the verification link.
Yeah, but, okay, but, you know, we're fucking
somebody who knows how to do this, because I don't know how to do that stuff.
Sounds like you need to hire a hitman, Ed.
Oh, man. Nice.
Hiring a hitman.
By the way,
hitman.
Alex tossed a link to your hire a hitman post in the forum today. And I can't remember what you said. You linked some text. And what did you say in the text, Alex? It was
Saul.
Funny.
Saul, you remember
that
Saul?
That was it. Better Call Saul.
The problem solver from.
Saul good, man.
Exactly. Did that dude get in touch with you, Ed?
No.
You did not call Saul.
I didn't know what the hell you were talking about and didn't click the link.
Oh, you don't.
Ed's mad.
You were saying the problem
mad,
solver.
bro?
Are you not a Breaking Bad fan then, or a Better Call Saul fan?
Yeah.
It had its own spinoff.
Oh. I was thinking Saul was the one from
Breaking Bad.
Say again?
Breaking Bad reference.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, and now it's its own thing.
Okay,
Now
guys,
it's its own show.
what was the movie with the dancing and the gal? She thought it was cocaine and she took heroin instead.
Oh yeah, I know.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, yeah.
SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants.
I don't think anybody's name was Saul in that movie.
No, I don't think. Yeah, because it was the guy. It was Harvey Keitel.
He was the
Oh,
wolf.
you're way better than me.
I gotta IMDb this. This is what IMDb
It was
is for.
John Travolta.
I'm definitely not playing
SquarePants.
I was dirty dancing until we got to the cocaine.
Right, exactly all this dancing. I was like, wait a minute. And then the gal took the cocaine. That's
It's
like the
SpongeBob
best way to
SquarePants.
describe it. Who is that?
Okay, so wait, let's rewind. Hitman.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah. Wasn't that Teletubbies?
About PHP.
Was it Zoobilee Zoo? No. That was the electric company.
You still need something that can reach out to an existing SMTP server, right? So it can do mail, so it can pass credentials and do stuff like that. Because otherwise, it's just still sending from the server, whether you do it via PHP or you do it via Lua.
Yeah, I don't want to have a mail server. I don't want to have a point of attack.
Why don't you just have them reset it when they say they forgot it? Just right there.
Because then they'll take other people's accounts. If I say I'm Bob, so I try to create a user account with the name Bob, and it says, no, Bob's been taken. They say, oh, well, I just forgot my password. Oh, okay. Well, now Bob doesn't have an account.
That's where you go, right, forgot my password, type in username, Bob, and then it sends an email to Bob saying, click here to reset your fucking password.
Right, but that requires a whole back handling for the clicking of the link. I don't have any of that.
Or require a user ID that is an email address, that is a valid email address.
Yeah, I don't want to do anything that requires me to handle sending mail and clicking a link.
Or you do a Facebook or Twitter login.
No, there you go. That's a...
You can wait. Yeah, you can wait for Chris to release his OAuth plugin, and you can just use theirs. You can use whatever you want. You want to log in with Imager. You want to log in with Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter.
That's
a good idea.
I feel like that's so much easier. I mean, I don't use my Facebook login for shit, but logging into like contractors.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Because I have a Facebook account that I do use, but I don't use Facebook sign-in for anything. When I'm presented with set up a user ID and password or use your Facebook login, and I don't know why. I guess, I don't know. I saw Terminator too much. It feels too Skynet-y. I just,
if you don't get the choice, right? If it's just either use Twitter or Facebook to log in and not sign up your own, you will choose one of the other ones. Because you want to use the app.
Yeah.
Right. Is this your thing, Ed, or is this a client thing, if you don't mind us asking?
No, it's my thing, and I'm working with another guy. And
all right.
The idea sounds really good. He's going to watch this show, so I got to say the right thing. Okay, Mike.
It's the guy from yesterday. German guy.
He knows. Actually, he knows.
By the way,
the whole idea was like, oh, this sounds like a great idea. And then we're like, why don't we just put multiplayer? That sounds like a good idea. No, this is a horrible idea.
Never.
Harvey Keitel's character in Pulp Fiction was the Wolf.
The Wolf. Okay, so the Wolf.
Right. A double day.
The game requires multiplayer, but I must tell you, I hate multiplayer coding. There's like so many things you've got to deal with.
Real time? Well, is this sort of what you were that thing that you demoed for us? Was this related to that? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it increases the complexity exponentially. I mean,
not double. You're right. It's more like 10 times.
It's a power of. It's not times 2. It's to a power of 2. Indeed,
it is. At least a power of. So anyway, I'm just venting here, but it's been interesting decoding and debugging and figuring out these little things that are going on. And then like that, I was like, oh yeah, good. The mail thing's working. I tested it. I got the email. I'm like, it's all good. Mike writes and he says, yeah, I'm not getting the emails. What?
What's his service?
What is the service?
No, what's his service that wasn't getting the email?
He's got his own personal server.
Oh. Well, maybe yours is on a blacklist.
Just got a fucked up spam filter.
Maybe.
No. He said he's had some test users play it now, and some of his test users are also not getting the emails.
Right.
This might be, I don't know if it's possible, but maybe set up a Gmail account for your app. Have this email sent to that Gmail account. Maybe you can set up an inbox filtering rule that will then forward that email if you can find a way for it to pull the end user's email address.
Filters run when you load the client?
What filter? What do you mean?
Like I'm thinking like an inbox rule. If there's a way for you to set up an inbox rule, so I'm Bob.
Client side.
Hey, look at Charles.
Where you wanted to forward to something? You can't make it auto forward unless it's an account you own.
This is what I'm saying. So if there's a way to,
Wait, Mike says no. Somebody, Mike, come on, man, unmute and tell us why we shouldn't do that.
No, he's right. It's a terrible workaround. I'm just trying to think if there's a way to.
Well, wait. Now,
why don't you guys use something like MailChimp?
We were just talking. Yeah, we were talking about that as an option.
No. Right. Okay. So if you want to send emails and you don't want to end up your emails to end up in the spam box or in the bucket or whatever, right? So I don't know how to do with Lua, but in PHP you can spoof an email address, right? From legitimate. But yeah. Right, legitimate. I can't talk. I'm quite drunk actually. But
after dark.
It's
you're in the UK, so it's
right,
3 a.m. My God.
I just got home. I've got Burger King as well, so sorry.
I love it when the emphasis on the second word. That's my favorite. He's got the Burger King.
Yeah,
he doesn't
exactly.
have Burger King. He's got Burger King.
Burger King. And anyway, right. So in PHP you can spoof kind of an email address. So you can say, right, I want to send an email address from this PHP script, but I wanted it to send from this email address. And if you write it right, you can send it from any server, but the recipient will only see, right, okay, so it's kevin@nasa.com or whatever, nhs.com or whatever. And in that way, because it doesn't have any back information, it will just always go through to the inbox. Well, like I said, I don't know how to do that in Lua, but I know you can do it in PHP. So if you write a kind of script that does it, handle that, and you do.
I can run PHP scripts from Chromium.
Oh right, okay. So there you go. So just write a PHP script.
I also put a link in the
easy as that.
I'll be right on top of that. That's right. I'm the universal know-it-all kind of guy. That's right. PHP.
You're a hitman, Ed. You should know how to hit that.
Well, now you're making me all this MailChimp stuff. So I integrated MailChimp into an app I did for a client last year, and I've been meaning to modularize or pluginize it. But what I was doing was essentially collecting. I was using a very narrow area of their API, so making somebody join a mail list essentially. But now you got me thinking.
Yeah, because you can do you can have people sign up. You can put them in a list, and then you can do transactional emails here, like forgotten password emails. It says so.
Yeah. And
Ed, you were saying earlier that you want them to be able to update. Well, you should be able to. Either provide them with a form to update or do it through the app. I mean, you're just connecting again to the API.
The question that I can't. Okay, when you say use MailChimp, and I'm thinking, okay, well that's like over here, and my Chromium server's over here. How do I talk to this? I mean,
they offer an API, just like you do network requests in Corona to talk to a REST service.
Oh. Okay.
You should be able to use Chromium to make internet calls.
Some kind of socket
To
based.
their REST API.
Okay.
Their API was super easy to work with too, at least for working with list collection.
Okay. Well, this is good. You guys have given me several rabnet holes, as Alex says.
Yeah.
Them damn rabnet holes.
You've given me several options to look into, so I will.
I still think that your best solution is just have Twitter and Facebook login.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna reach out to Chris and ask him about that, about his plugin.
Yeah, because then you don't have to remember your password. You can just click the button.
Yeah, that's the best. I like that. I've done that once for one other client.
Yeah. Before
Chris came along with his super OAuth solution, and it was very painful. So that's when you first said it, I'm like, oh, ow.
What was that? Do that again. Go on.
Ouch. Ed, what email addresses aren't getting the emails? You said Gmail, Yahoo.
Gmail and Yahoo worked.
with like Prodigy and like their like fucking AOL account aren't getting these emails? Like, what kind of messed up email addresses?
I don't know. I didn't even bother to ask. As soon as he said he had some that weren't working, and I was like, okay, well that's gonna be a problem. So
my Lycos account is not getting my emails.
Lycos, fuck yeah.
There's a bunch of
AOL. So I'm like, no, people who are on the internet this century.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people like me that have my own domain. So if you email me, my personal stuff's at robmiracle.com, and that's running on some servers on HostGator, and it's not going through a service like Yahoo Mail or Gmail or things like that.
But do you have control of your blacklist, Rob?
I've got some ability to go in and set filters and stuff to block things. Because right now, pretty much everything's coming through until I block it.
So I feel like it might just be an over-aggressive filter there, Ed. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
obviously,
well,
doing OAuth is the best, definitely for sure.
Since they're running on Linux, they're using Spam Assassin as the default, and it does some analysis on the headers that come in on the email address, and they give every email a score, and anything over 5 is considered spam. Real mails would be down in the 0-1 range of the spamminess that they're looking for. So they're looking for the from field being different than the URL or the address of the sending machine. They're looking for certain patterns and how subjects and stuff are written, and they come up with the score. And that stuff I'll never see. I mean, if it comes in and Spam Assassin thinks it's spam, I'll never know I got it.
Yeah, and these days, you want to run email through a third-party service, I believe, just because you don't want any spam complaints, and you don't want anybody, you don't get sued for anything, and let them do what they do best, because email is such a pain.
And as far as if you're going to be sending out emails, I would agree with Charles completely on this. Companies like MailChimp and such, they spend a lot of effort to make sure that they stay off of blacklists. Because a lot of times the blacklists are completely out of your control anyway. And if you're somebody like an IBM or whatever, you'd hate to get blacklisted and all of a sudden the whole company can't send email. So these services have to be very, very good at what they do.
Well, it's blacklist on IP, isn't it? So you want to make sure your server is on a separate IP.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your mail server. Speaking of email, and
you could change the topic.
Yeah, no. Hold on.
It's fine. It's all right.
One sec. So speaking of email, because we all publish games on Android, right?
Okay.
Has anybody got a email from globalrating.com?
Yeah.
Right, so this is a normal thing, because today is the first time I got an email from them.
From who?
Global Rating?
Globalrating.com.
The new thing that Google's doing where you got to go get a rating certificate before you can submit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I knew that. So you go to the website and you click on all the things and then they give you a rating. But I've never had actually a physical email from them. So I was just
I've never heard of what a physical email is, but you mean a...
But no, you know what I mean. Rather than go to the Google website and just fill in the form and say, yeah, okay, it's down.
Don't they always email you the certificate, though?
Yeah, no, I've got it, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but you got a separate other email from them?
What? No, wait, okay, hold on. I can show you this, I think. Yeah, there you go. So, share. Right, can you see that?
Got it. Oh.
Right. So this is the email I got today. So that I'm
gonna look at my inbox and see if I have any of these. I usually just delete these, which is probably a bad idea. But
well, yeah. Well, I don't know. See, that's what I'm asking. I got it today, and it's like, what's this? So because you all got. So I don't know if this is a legit thing or.
Here we go. Yeah. So we're on the same page. I get a bunch of these every time I submit stuff.
Oh, right, okay, so it's normal.
I've got one here.
Look at us. We're all real developers because we've got our ratings.
Yeah,
we know.
We know.
That's That's right. We're hanging out our rating things right now. Oh yeah.
Nice.
And only 1 out of 3. Okay, 2 out of 3 of us have been drinking.
Okay, so it's normal then. I can ignore this, right? Okay.
Yeah, you can totally. I just put it in my.
Spam.
I either delete them or I put them in like archive it. Immediately archive. You know, that's a good question. If you archive a Gmail and you haven't put it in a folder before you archive it, I know it goes somewhere. I just don't know where the heck it goes. Have you guys ever
I turn off archiving in Gmail. I go old school. I have folders. I'll keep them that way. I don't, if I want to delete something, I want to delete it. Put it in the trash.
I'm not sure. I'm using the Macmail application or the client. So no Gmail.
I tell you, I've been using Gmail for years, and here recently, it's gotten to the point where it seems to bury things for me. Like it'll take threaded emails and push them down and
Yahoo's doing that now as well. So
yeah.
my private Yahoo is a complete mess because it's like, oh, you've got 2 emails from the same person that meshed them together in one message, and it's like
that's what I really want.
That's separate conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have my own weird mix of things because I have my own as Rob was saying earlier, I've got my own domain, jasonschroeder.com, but I have a Google Apps account, which I have legacy free back from when they were offering it free for individuals and small companies. So I had to change some settings on my server, but it redirects any mail to Google servers, and they handle my email, so I get Gmail's interface and then I use Macmail as well, connecting with my Google account, which is my personal domain.
Yeah.
Wow, you put me on the Wayback Machine for a minute there. I almost forgot the days when you couldn't even have a Gmail account without getting an invite first.
I remember that. What's this Gmail you speak of?
That's Google Plus, isn't it?
Hey man, have you heard about that Gmail thing? Did you get an invite? No, but I got 50. You want one?
Back when it sounded clever, because it's email by Google. It's Gmail, but now it just sounds Gmail. It's just Gmail. I don't think it sounds clever anymore, right? It's like
to blow our minds. Nowadays, we're like, yeah, I got 5 Gmail accounts. Don't tell anybody.
I've got about 20.
Hey, I got a question.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Apple is going to put out an Apple TV SDK?
Ooh.
Probably not.
You don't think so?
No.
Why not? Just curious. I mean, there's been a lot of buzz around it. You're chewing. Well, there's a lot of buzz around it, right? And so the rumors last time was that they were going to announce the TV service, and then the rumors now are that
block with content providers. It sounds like.
Yes, it's really really hard. But I think it would be smart for them to go ahead and release the SDK.
Right. Okay.
While they're trying to line up these TV deals.
Right.
There's actually a pretty confirmed rumor that the new Apple TV that's coming out is going to ship with a controller on the 19th.
Yeah, and it's supposed to do Siri and all that other business.
No, an actual game controller.
Oh, a game controller.
Yeah, they're getting real serious with it, and I'm actually kind of surprised that Corona's not on it.
I think, Charles, the problem with Apple releasing the SDK to developers would require them to acknowledge that a new product exists, and they don't like to do that.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Okay, so my problem with Apple TV at the moment is that nobody's using it.
And that's based on what? That's based on what? Do you have the numbers? Are you just saying that because your friends?
No. Right. Okay. So if
your friends don't use it, or do you actually have numbers?
Okay, I don't have actual numbers.
Okay, well you really can't say that.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So I believe that a bigger portion is using the Google Chromecast kind of thing.
That's great to believe it, but I mean, like, I have Apple TV right now.
Right. How is it?
It's great. I love it. I use it all the time.
Right. Okay. So
it's not really good of us to come on here and be like, well, no one uses this because I believe so.
Okay. Right. Okay.
I'm really looking for numbers. So I was getting kind of excited because I
Okay.
I'm interested in that too. I don't know anyone that owns an Apple TV, but I know tons of people that own like Chrome sticks and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'll say it's safe to say it hasn't been
I know
a
it's
major
anecdotal.
hit.
That's
I would
not
say it hasn't
validated.
been a major hit for Apple in this only in the fact that they haven't released an update in a few years. So I mean,
Did I tell you what I said? They're coming out on this September with the new version, like a big rollout.
What's do you know the news source for that? I was
can't
actually
give it.
Googling. I was
do,
Googling.
but I can't give it. But it's going to happen this month
Okay.
or next month. Actually, it's not September yet. But
no,
yeah,
I believe you. No, and it's overdue. That's the thing. So it's I remember last year there was talk that they might, and it would have been cool, and it didn't happen. I believe you when you say that there will be a new version. I think when it will really take off for them as a device is when they get their ducks in a row with the content providers, because I think it's the service is going to be the killer feature on it, and that's when I think they'll, because right now for I think Apple TV is a cool device. If a friend were to come to me today and say, well, I want something to stream with, I'd probably point them to a Roku now, but if Apple gets the content providers lined up,
no, you do.
totally.
Do you have one of these devices? I mean, are you just?
Yeah.
I mean, do you
No,
know?
I've used one. I don't own
I have one right
personally.
now, and there's. I mean, I'm not really sure what content's missing on it. I mean, they have HBO. They have
You talking about Roku? You talking about Apple TV? What are we talking about?
Apple TV.
Yeah, they've got
They've
quite
all
a
got
bit.
very similar. They've all got very similar.
Apple has no
content.
problem getting content providers.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is making it. What is missing, I think, on the Apple side is turning it into iTunes for making it a cable. Ditch your cable. This is a la carte streaming. Cable, which is what they've been trying to do, according to a whole lot of articles over years.
Well, they're about to be pushing apps on it.
I was trying to find I just saw this stat the other day that maybe it was on Mac Rumors, but it was talking about that Apple TV had usage had fallen a little bit from last year, but it was like Roku, Apple TV, and then what the hell, just the Amazon stick, stuff like that, or whatever.
Right.
So
they've got 40.6% of the market.
Where'd you find that one?
That's way off from the stats I'm seeing.
Streamingmedia.com. And this
Apple
is 2005. Yeah.
40% of the streaming box market. Wow, that's.
Yeah.
I
So
legitimately shocked about that. Can you link it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and because I think I saw the same stat, and I was really surprised. I was like, wow, that's it's a lot more than I thought. So
Roku is 13, others is 4.3, Amazon 8, Google is 34. Yeah.
From my experience with this,
this is 2 months ago.
Now that TVs and stuff are starting to become smart TVs, a lot of people will be happy enough that they can just get their Netflix directly from the TV.
Yeah.
We've got a sound bar that's got a smart TV built into it, but in our house, nobody wants to use it to watch Netflix because the UI is so terrible for it. So one of my sons went out and picked up an Apple TV, and that's where the Netflix gets viewed at until he went out and stole it. But
well, see, for me, right, I just have the Chromecast stick, and I use Netflix on my phone, and I just select my Chromecast. So I use my phone as a remote control, basically.
I will say, Eric, to go to your original point when you said, because I'm not ragging on the Apple TV. I think it's a cool device. What I think is super cool about the Roku, unlike, say, Apple or Google or Amazon, who all are in the business of selling you content, Roku's not. So Roku, you can search. If I want to watch Pulp Fiction, and I have a Hulu account, and I have a Netflix account, and I have I have an Amazon account, I can tell the Roku, hey, search for Pulp Fiction, and it's going to show me where I can watch it, and it's not going to prioritize iTunes like Apple would. It's not going to prioritize Amazon streaming like the Amazon box would, and it's not going to prioritize Google Play like Google would. That to me is a big part of the value of a Roku. Plus, it just has a nice interface. But
Well, I'll tell you what a lot of these guys are betting on is home automation as well, right? So, for what I understand, Apple TV is going to be the hub for home automation as well. What do you guys think about that? I mean, how does that play into Roku's strategy?
You bring up a good point there, Charles, because Apple made a big deal of HomeKit, and you still haven't seen a lot out of that yet.
Yeah.
And they do need a central server to drive a lot of that, and an Apple TV box would be the logical place to do that.
Did you guys hear about the Google router?
No.
So there's
apparently an article, I think, but
yeah. Well, I heard it on Twit, this week in tech, and it was there's a Google router. It's $200, looks like here on in Gadget saying, and it's basically a lot of people are thinking it's kind of the Trojan horse for home automation, right? It being the central hub for home automation as well.
Oh, here we go.
There's the Engadget.
I don't know. It's so funny. I mean, renting a two-bedroom apartment in New York, I don't know that any of that applies. I will say, though, I bought a smart air conditioner last year. Because we have the kids' room, right? And you've got two little kids that are sleeping. And if you want to adjust the temperature in their room, you don't want to have to walk in to change it, right? So we bought this.
Oh,
yeah. So we bought this cool, the Wink company, I think they're called.
Yep.
GE, and we bought their air conditioner. And can I tell you, I hate it. and here's why. When it works fine. But there's a couple weird little things for a smart, like it beeps every time you change something. So if it's in a kid's room and you don't want to wake them up and it makes noise, and there's not a setting for that. And it's smart. It has firmware upgrades that are being delivered to it. They could enable this, and they don't.
Wire cutters.
What drives me crazy is, too, so I've got my phone, I've got an app, I can change the temperature, and I've got my air conditioner, which is attached to my home Wi-Fi. Now, it's all connected through a central server, which makes sense if I'm out of my house and I want to change the temperature so it's nice and cool when I come home. But there's absolutely no option to communicate with it over the local network.
Or Bluetooth.
And their servers go down. That's happened. Their servers have gone down, and they'll say, hey, you can just walk in and push the buttons. The whole reason I bought the thing is I don't want to have to walk in and push the buttons. And when their servers go down for a day at a time, which has happened, it's like, okay, but these are on the same local network. They could talk to each other, and they didn't bother to bake it in at all, which drives me up a wall.
Well, I've got Nest upstairs and downstairs, and I guarantee you that it lowers my bill. I did that in my last house, and it lowered my bill. So, yeah I mean, so it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I am definitely getting this the next time, and I love that. It's it's a learning device, so it learns my habits, and when I'm away, it auto aways, and when I go someplace, I know I can turn it down, and then before we leave to go home, I can adjust the temperature of the house and have it ready for me when I get home. So
who bought Nest? Are they part of the whole Wink thing now? Or?
Google.
Okay.
Yeah. So as far as the home automation thing, I'm down with it. I would love to have I want one of those doorbells that's got a camera in it, so I can see who's there and talk to them. Cool. Yeah. And I want lighting. I want lighting that will adjust itself and stuff like that, or I can adjust. So.
I was laughing.
So where's the best place to implement that, though? Because I've seen smart light bulbs. So it's at the bulb level, and I'm wondering if it's better at the.
Yeah, I don't know. See, Philips is doing a lot of stuff, but yeah, then you have boxes you can plug appliances into, so you can plug a lamp into it, right? But the beauty of and I don't own one of these yet, so I don't know firsthand. But from what I've read about the Philips bulbs and stuff like that, is you can change the type of lighting that you have, the color of light, that kind of thing. So you can really it's not just a light bulb, but they're expensive, which is why I don't have one. I mean, I think that come down in price and be reasonable, right? Before I'm not going to go out and spend $200 for a light bulb.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I've tried to convince my wife to go. We still use incandescents because my wife is an interior designer, and she's like, the quality of the light on those LCDs or the compact fluorescence is terrible. I say, yeah, but I think it's come a long way, and now they have these LED lights, and she's like, I don't. But Maybe I should take her to a store and try and convince her. I don't know.
Well, I think if it has a benefit that drives you, like for me, like being able to control the temperature of the house made sense financially, and it also made, I find that you were talking about earlier that you don't want to get up because you bought it so that you could control it remotely. I find that I am much more on top of the management of the temperature if I have it on my phone. Because if I'm working on something and I'm like, oh, I'm hot, it's hot in here, I'm like, oh, I'll adjust it in a minute, and then time goes by or it's cold, right? Which is the more less cost efficient way of going. It's really cold in here. Well, I'll adjust it in a moment. I'll adjust it in a moment. And then an hour goes by and you're like, damn it, I'm cold. And then but here, where it's right here on my phone, I'm like, boop, I adjust it, and then it learns my habits. So eventually, it learns, that hey, it's time for bed. Adjust the temperature upstairs and down.
It learns you don't like it when it's cold, but it's okay if it's hot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the air conditioner I bought has all those features, but honestly, we just bought it so that we can change the temperature in the kids' rooms without waking them up by opening the door. That's it.
That is kind of silly. They should remove the beep.
Yeah, it's
the point
a lot of people have complained about it on forums. They have these sort of customer support things, and we've been told, oh yeah, we'll get to that, and I believe they believe that.
I love that. I believe that you believe that. I believe that you believe that. That's great. No, I think home automation has merits. I don't think we're there yet, right? We got to sell that to the consumer. But I think as developers, I think it's cool.
I think it might be premature though. For example, is Google putting out this router to try and become the hub? I go, build out the platform for them first, then sell me a hub.
Well, okay, so that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with Apple TV. I think Kevin said. Was it Kevin who said that they weren't going to come out with Apple TV? Okay, so Kevin says, no, they're not going to come out with this SDK for Apple TV. And I'm thinking, well, we already know, we think we know from all the rumors that they are trying to line up content, right? And we know, I have an Apple TV, and they're always pushing out things on my here lately that I don't want. I have to remove them. So they're making changes, and I think that there's too much pressure for them not to release something, right? The home automation thing is hanging over their head. The content thing is hanging over their head. So I think they need to do something, or people are going to stop paying attention.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, but in releasing the SDK seems like it would be good now, right? Because one of the things that at least one of the articles that I read was that content providers could go ahead and start working on their channels, right? Because that's one of the things you can do on Roku right now is you can create a channel that's tailored for your audience, for an experience, right? So like my wife has a YouTube channel. There's another company that actually created a channel for her. And they use that to loop into all of their other channels that they have, and then they use all those to kind of tie back into their ad revenue model, right? So there's a certain point where we're kind of like, well, maybe we should take over the management of that channel for financial reasons, right? And so I'm thinking the same thing would hold true with Apple TV. The content providers would want to be able to tailor the channel experience to their audience. Anyway,
Charles, you're definitely like the marketing guy.
Oh, sorry. See, this is the thing. I'm always thinking about where's that nickel? Where's that nickel come from? How do you get that nickel?
He's the open source marketer. Isn't that one of your domains?
That's one of my brands. Yeah, open source marketer. Yeah. So, but I'm always that's how my brain works. I'm always thinking ooh, we could sell that.
Yeah. I'm gonna be right back, so don't hang up on me. I don't want to come back and you guys are all like, okay, he's
Which
done.
I don't know if it's still available, but for the longest time I had my eye on usegrandmothers.com.
What was it?
That was an awesome response.
Yeah.
Usedgrandmothers.com. Because
used grandmothers. That could go various ways.
Is this some kind of kind of website? I have to turn my privacy filters off.
Right. Well, because there's always that phrase that the guy would sell his own grandmother, and I'm like, oh, usegrandmother.com. Yeah, see, here it's available still, surprisingly.
I'm surprised Pornhub didn't ban
shocking.
But
No, I didn't type it into the. For God's sake, don't type it into the address bar. Just go to.
Right. Okay. Right. On a separate note, and coming back to a previous discussion, Jason, question to you: where do I go to give you some money?
Not to put too fine of a point on it, but hey.
No. Honestly, right? I'm using your plugin, and you're not getting any revenue from it now.
I love it.
Really happy with it. Right? Do you've got a website where we can, have some donation or?
I don't have any.
You have a PayPal address? Do you have?
Yeah, you've got a PayPal address or whatever, because I like to give you some money for it, because I'm using it, I'm really happy, and it would be a shame if you don't get money for it.
Well, that's awfully kind. I'll tell you what. I'll throw up a PayPal link on the website, and I'll let you know when that happens.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's definitely set something up, because Corona is not getting any revenue now for your plugin, and you are not. I don't really care about the Corona bit, but you actually put the work into it, and I'd like to give you some money for it.
That's excellent. Excellent. I love it. That is excellent.
We'll see what he says when he sobers up.
No. Wait, people always
set this thing up fast.
Yeah. Let's forget about it. No. Honestly, either a PayPal address or whatever. But I like to send some money.
Thanks, man. Well, I'll tell you what. Wait till I'll set up a little thing on the website for it, because that's we've talked about that before, and I saw Sergey, who's also putting out plugins now, has something like that, and I think I think I can do it in a tasteful way so that it's there. I don't want to, but I will. I'll let you know when it's up there.
Well, no, it's community giving back.
I think Mike's going to chime in with monetization options for the plugin store.
I'm not. I'm just going to give a shout out to Sergey because he's awesome. He has like 3 plugins in like 2 weeks that he had.
Yeah. And native, he's braver than me. He's wading into the Java and Objective-C side of things.
Whenever people come to me, they go, "Hey Ed, would you like to do some native work?" And I'd say,
"Not
I'd really like to, but I think Sergey might be a better bet for you because he's the native guy."
So Michael, would you say that the monetization options, there isn't one basically? Do you guys have anything?
It's in the works, but I'm not the one working on it, so I can't say anything.
All right. Now, just so it
easier than I mean it to be, but I believe that you believe that.
No, we're waiting for like a round of funding to pay our subcontractor who's working on it, or something like that. It's just bureaucracy in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Angel investing is now bureaucracy. What is America coming to? Capitalist system, I know. Listen to me. Listen to this Tea Party guy over here. Oh my goodness. So I heard there's something hilarious about Apple TVs and how amazing they are. How ubiquitous they are. Every living room.
That's right. Every Apple TV in every pot.
That's right.
What's that, Ed?
I'm just giving crap. Whatever the number is set on that one, we got so many links now from this show. Only 40.6%.
And you're going to be so well read after dark. After dark.
I'll say, and maybe I wonder if I'm the only one who does this. I skipped the Apple TV and went straight to the Mac Mini attached to the TV because I cut the cord for cable, but I'm still a cable internet customer. And they've actually changed this. But for the longest time, I was still getting my local channels through the coax. So I got a Mac Mini and I got a HD home run, and I had myself a little DVR, for all my local channels in high definition.
Local channels in high definition, so you can record the 5 o'clock news and
Well,
Jeopardy?
you know, I mean, I cut out. That's the thing. I cut out.
He sure is brave for not showing his face on camera.
Yeah.
Not even.
That's exactly what it looked like.
I was able to cut. I was able to shave, you know, $70 or something off my cable bill for a bunch of channels I wasn't watching anyway.
What's a cable?
I still get my local. I had 2 cable boxes, so that's part of the reason it was so expensive. But you know,
Kevin, you got to send him $7 so he can afford cable.
That's right.
But no, I mean that's. But no, but I don't miss it, right? Because it's like I got rid of that. I still had my local channels, and I have like, you know, I spent $8 on a Hulu subscription. So you know, it's like
interwebs.
I do have the interwebs.
I don't have cable TV either. Does anybody on here still have cable TV?
Nope.
I tell you what, since I got my Chromecast, I got rid of my well, it's not cable TV, but my TV license in the UK, basically. So Sky or BT, whatever, because I can just stream it off my Mac or my phone to my telly.
Stephen,
TV.
what's it like down there? Are you good with streaming and stuff, or do you still need cable because it's a little bit better infrastructure?
Well, I don't watch TV.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. You're sitting in the dark.
Man's too busy.
Like you're watching
Man's
TV.
too busy making games.
Yeah, and downloading torrents. But yeah, all right.
No.
Too busy making it work.
In the back wall, it looks like TV to me. Don't tell me it's our monitors doing this. No,
So
no.
when you say I don't watch
No
TV
tricks.
either,
I have a TV there, but
is that the black blob that's next to the other?
Yeah,
black blob.
I guess that's I don't watch shows. I guess.
Right. So you don't watch? Do you watch? So wait. So do you watch like 30 Rock and like Mr. Robot and shit?
Those
or
would be Mr. Robot's freaking great.
I'm about-
If anybody on this is into TV shows, that is a show to watch.
No,
I'm
Silicon
about
Valley.
10 years behind.
You're 10 years behind. Okay, so you're just catching up with Downton Abbey.
I know the name. I don't know.
But you're not there yet. That's 5 years.
Steven, go and watch Silicon Valley. It's good.
I hear that's a good show. That dude T.J. Miller, I feel like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
CJ Miller, isn't it? Yeah.
You gotta love him or hate him. I don't know. I don't know about that.
I love him in that. I hate him in everything else.
SpongeBob SquarePants. You guys got to check out SpongeBob SquarePants.
It's like
Eric's
he's
big on- He's big on that.
Well, I don't have kids, so you know, it's
Yeah. Oh man, once you have kids, there's no TV. I think I know all the words to all of the. There's this Truck Tunes video on YouTube because we have like a Roku box, and that's on heavy rotation in the living room.
it's
right
just
now.
constant loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah, there's TV. There's just
Dumb,
your
dumb,
TV.
man. Exactly. Exactly. That's on my TV. It is, and he's just getting into like how to use my wife's iPad, so.
Oh boy,
It's a struggle.
it's all downhill from here.
So here's the thing that I see is that my daughter will sit in the living room with either her iPad or her laptop and watch YouTube or Netflix, and there's like a 50-inch television sitting right there that she's not even using. Right? She could care less about it. So you're talking about cord cutting. You know, there's a whole generation that's like, yeah.
Yeah, my neighbor kid's like that too.
I can't do
This
the
is-
same.
Brand new Super TV, but he still watches it on his like computer monitor.
Well, because if they get bored with it, right? Something new is just a swipe away.
I have a really good friend who you know, he lives in like an apartment downtown or whatever, and he doesn't have a TV. You know, it's like, you know, one bedroom or whatever. He lives there with his girlfriend, and he said his in-laws came over. You know, his mother-in-law came into their living room, and saw they didn't have a TV, and she said, well, where's your TV, guys? What's going on? It's like, oh, we don't use TV. You know, we do this, that, or the other thing. She's like, well, how do you get your news? And I was just like, that's like, is that? It's so strange how there's that chasm between generations. Do you know what I mean? Like, when's the last time you watched TV for news? Like, it's a pageant.
You know what? I missed the CBS Sunday morning show. That's the one broadcast television show that I just missed. That's a great show.
What is with like
Sunday morning? It's like News-y, but it's like it tends to have a positive spin. It's got contributors instead of reporters. It's just a great show.
Like the guy that goes from town to town meeting little folksy people and stuff like that. Is that
Yeah, I don't know if he's still on it anymore, but yeah.
Hauser? Is that who that is?
What is it?
Hauser? Is that guy's name? I don't know, man. I've never like it was interminable. My dad was a reporter, and he would watch Meet the Press every Sunday morning, and I was like, Dad, I want to watch Spider-Man.
Television reporter or newspaper reporter?
Newspaper. We're for like the Enquirer out here. So,
oh yeah, right.
Yeah. So, and so just like
Wait. Meet the Press and Enquirer don't really go together.
Oh, the Philadelphia Inquirer is the big.
Oh, the Philadelphia Inquirer. Oh, not the other one.
Right, no, yeah.
Not the National Inquirer.
Not the Enquirer.
Inquiring Minds one.
Inquirer with an I. Yeah.
Charles.
Not with the National Enquirer with an E. Maybe there were lizard people on that show. You didn't know that? Lizard people run the world, you guys.
Now we know what Charles does when he goes to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm right for the Enquirer.
I'm going to throw a topic out there because I said I would on Twitter, and because it throws it back into sort of game development realm. I'm throwing a link up in the chat now, and I'll share it, I guess, on my end screen. There was a cool article on Killscreen that I just thought what was cool about it. I thought was it's an interesting little indie app. It's a web app that has a mobile version, so you can run it on your site, and it's a play on I guess Tinder. So you swipe right, swipe left. The whole idea of this is that you just need to keep swiping, and there's a little boredom meter at the top, and as you go further, it progresses. What interested me about it is that I think this is sort of a cool example of these sort of meta indie games. It's very simple in scope. It's actually kind of fun to play, and it has something to say in the sort. They don't show it here, but when you play it here, I'm going to click it to show it here. I don't know if it'll run well in this screen share, but what I love is when it starts up, but what I think is cool about it is it could totally be done in Corona, like fast, easy. So I just thought it was worth looking at. But I love this. Here it goes. Welcome to the thrilling world of app-based dating. Swipe left, swipe right. Just keep swiping. Here's the boredom meter. Here's the best part. This is how people meet now. So you just click here and let me just see here. So it's just you just sort of keep swiping.
I like the ending part of that article.
Here lies a millennial.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think this is a cool idea of, it's one of those things where if you have the right idea and you've got some artwork for it, coding-wise, in Corona, I mean, this could be put together on a Saturday afternoon, right? I mean...
Or during an After Dark hangout. Tappity tap, 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 tap.
I'm busy doing a server, Ed. I don't have time for that.
It just sort of it sparked my like Me Too reflex. My like, oh, I can do that. I should be doing that. Why am I not doing that?
Mm-hmm. I feel like the most you get back out of like those kinds of games are the least that you put in. Like if it's an interesting concept that you thought of while you're, like in the shower, and you're just like, you know what, that would be kind of funny, and then you punch it up, throw a moving, a quick transition on the background, and boom, you're the talk of the town.
So you're saying like a really low input, and you get a lot of high value people talking about you, blah blah blah. Then it's like it's worth it, but otherwise you're kind of like, eh.
Well, I mean, I feel when we talk about worth it, I mean, I don't think it's worth it. Like, I don't think you're going to get rich off that, in the traditional sense, right? Right, Jay. Yeah, I don't think you're right. You were saying that either, but it's like it's like, oh, he's the guy who did X.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
the girl. Right, exactly. That's the chick who did Y, and like, oh man, like I really was, interested in what they did, and so now they're following your career, quote unquote.
That's exactly it. So you can put that together quickly. Killstream writes a cool article. Guys like me see it. Now we're following you, and so next time when you do the next project, you've got more of an audience. And I think it's valuable.
Speaking of games like that, right? So you've got, I don't know if you've seen this game. It's got like the eye test, whatever. I just put it up. So you've got four squares, and one is obviously a different color. So you click on that, and then it progressively gets worse.
Oh, right. So it gets harder and harder to see the
Yeah, there's a game like that on iOS.
There you go. Yeah.
So this is like one of those things that tells me I'm old because I can't hear the whistle.
Right. Okay. Now oh, there you go. I don't know which. Oh no, that one. There you go. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you lost me like 3 clicks ago.
That's
Oh
it.
man, I can't even see it.
Lower,
Where
bottom,
is it?
left,
Where
left,
is it?
left, left,
Oh yeah, there. Yeah, got it.
left column.
Is there a timer on this?
Got it. In the actual game,
Two from the
yes.
bottom.
Yeah.
No, left column. First column from the right.
But this is so. What I love this is this is so simple. It's it just you want to solve the problem, right? It's a problem solver sort of thing. You
What's
just
the game?
Well, it's called eye test or whatever. I've just typed it in. There's another game that actually works with a timer.
Links in the chat, Eric.
Yeah, but that's not the. There's another game that actually works with a timer. You have to do it on time, and the time goes quicker and quicker and quicker. But this is just, I just found it on Google. But it's the same concept, basically.
Yeah, I like that one. That's good. I like the. I mean, it seems very simple, and like you were saying, Jason, that could probably be banged up pretty quick, right? I mean, it's.
Yeah, in terms of like the eye test game, you can knock that out in a few hours.
Interesting. Any others? Well, so Jason, what else did you want to talk about on that?
I don't know. I think I just sort of wanted to raise it and hope it would spur conversation. I'm done. Let me be clear.
That's me done. Yeah.
Say at this point.
At some point, I question the value of stupid games, right? Like
they're valueless. They have no value.
Well, exactly. I mean, okay. Let's just say for a moment. Now, there's two schools of thought, right? There's a TED Talk where the woman talks about, she's a game designer, and she talks about that games help us explore the world, games help us problem solve, games help us, I mean, and to a certain degree, there is some of that, right? Because to a 15-year-old kid, life is pretty stupid, right? Life is pretty boring, and if you can give them something that excites them and they'll explore and they'll see the world differently, then that's a good thing, right? But at some point, you have to say there's millions of human hours wasted flicking this Tinder app thing, right? Like you could have done something else with your time, right? So I like the simplicity of this. I definitely could see that it could get you just people talking about you, but at the same time, I'm like, my brain doesn't even go there just because it seems like.
No, it's not a game that I see myself like returning to.
No, yeah, but it's just again the sum of human existence.
So Charles, you don't want to contribute to the fall of humanity?
Right, I guess not. I don't know. At least, right, man.
March off the cliff with us, Charles. What are you doing?
I mean,
I hate to tell you this, Charles, but I'm pretty sure humanity's already doomed.
Wait,
I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way.
Trump's turning it around. He's going to make America great again. Thank goodness.
You guys been watching Bloom County? Bloom County, the cartoon?
No.
You and several other people on my Facebook feed are regularly posting it, so I feel like I am keeping up with it that way.
Oh, Bloom County's awesome.
Yeah, well, anyway, it's a cartoon, and he keeps talking about Trump, and he keeps waffling back and forth on, as he usually does, with whether or not Trump is good or bad, or is his approach, is his honesty refreshing or not, and all these things. Here's a link. He is it's hilarious, and I've been Bloom County fan forever and a day, so. Good
It's
stuff.
one of the golden areas of the funny page, the funny pages. I feel like it's not what it was. Well, newspapers weren't what they were. So.
If you've ever seen Opus and Bill, right, any of those characters, anywhere, you're talking about Bloom County because they're one and the same.
Was there a separate strip? Did they have separate strips back in the 90s?
There was a point there where he segmented it out. It was about the time that I think he was either winding things down or something, where he had, there was Bloom County, and then there was I can't remember. There was another one where he spun off Opus and Bill into their own kind of like their own strip, and that went for a little while. But
Was
then
it like Outland or something?
yeah, Outland, and then it just, I don't know if it was the artist, if it was the newspaper industry, or
and
what.
Is there any link to Gary Trudeau? Because there's the one character I feel like bears a resemblance to the Doonesbury guy.
Oh right, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's similar. They had similar art styles.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any influence one or the other.
I mean, he was smoking, so that was part of it, I think. It's like the dangling cigarette.
Let's talk about Kick-Ass Sunday comics right now. That's a great topic. Nobody said Calvin and Hobbes, obviously. That's the gold standard. What did I really liked Foxtrot. I don't know about you guys. I was into that comic. I thought it was kind of sweet.
I always liked Mother Goose and Grimm.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
The Far Side, some good single panel stuff.
Oh yeah.
I read For Better or Worse. I feel like I was the only one. I liked that one.
Well, I read that
too. I was a Garfield guy. I was a Garfield kid. I liked the books. And they used to put out the books. When I was a kid, my dad would go on business trips, and because you could get them at airport bookstores, he'd give me a Garfield book when he came home from a business trip.
They were long. They were landscape. They weren't portrait.
They were, yeah. They were these, yeah.
Have you guys seen the edits where they take Garfield out of Garfield, and so it's just John talking to himself? Oh, it's so good. It's so existential and amazing. Like, and there's one, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm so sad. He puts his head down and starts sobbing, and it's just an empty frame of just him crying in his arms. And, oh man, genius.
That's hilarious.
See if I can find it.
Family Circus, guys, it's great.
Have you guys seen on Netflix? If you've seen, is it Stripped? I think it's.
You were talking about that. You've been pumping that, Charles.
I know it, man. It's a good one. It's got all the guys on it, and it's actually one. I think it's the only time that. What's the creator, Calvin and Hobbes? Bill Watterson. I think it's one of the only times where he actually gives there's audio, right? So there's
there's a documentary released recently, right? Which felt like this weird passive aggressive like.
Oh yeah, there's
at first I thought, oh, it's how nice. It's a documentary about Calvin and Hobbes, and I was like, no, it's a documentary about how the guy who wrote Calvin and Hobbes just didn't want to have a documentary made about him.
Yeah, well, it's actually a good one too, though. But yeah, he's not in it anywhere, and he wouldn't participate. But the one on Stripped is good. I mean, he gives some good quotes, and anyway, they talk about all these different artists and how they came about and all that stuff. So if you're into Sunday morning cartoons, you definitely gotta.
Speaking of Netflix, right? Just throwing it out there. Who's seen Sense8?
Which one?
Sense.
I've heard good things about it, but I haven't seen it.
Ah, it's fantastic.
Who's got the eye of the tiger? Yeah, baby.
I feel like.
Oh, you're still playing that?
I feel like the UK eats our lunch when it comes to like serialized television. Like, what's that show? It's not Orphan Black, but it's something like that. Black Mirror.
Oh, Black Mirror is fantastic.
Right, and it's region locked for the UK. You can only steal it. They don't have it anywhere.
I know. I watched Black Mirror on Netflix.
Did you? Oh man, I guess
States.
My bad.
Yeah.
I fell off of it. I should return to it, but I really liked it.
Is Black Mirror the one with the pig?
No, yeah, it's the very first episode.
Oh yeah. My God, Lee lost me on that one, man.
The thing is, right? Every episode is an independent story.
Yeah, no, it's basically the Twilight Zone with like a 21st century twist.
All right, Michael's up.
Bye, Mike.
He's gone.
No, he's gone.
As long as we are making TV recommendations, I know I said this earlier. Mr. Robot's awesome. I got totally into that. I binge watched that.
I haven't seen it yet, but I hear such good things. I do need to. After I'm done playing Fallout, I'm gonna turn on some Mr. Robot.
It's a Subway show for me. It's like I will get these things and put them on my iPad and watch them on the subway.
What about Rick and Morty?
What's that?
I heard somebody talking about it, but I don't even know. It's a cartoon, right? It's a one of those Adult Swim things.
Yeah.
Oh, is that? Yeah. Oh, right. I see a bunch of GIFs on that. It looks pretty funny.
It is really funny, actually.
I gotta check that out. Steven, you gotta hook that TV up, plug it in. You got so many things you want.
It is plugged in. It's for game console.
Yeah, okay. Is it a CRT? Does it like bend? Is it glass? No.
CRT.
Dude, out here in rural, is anybody else rural? Where are you at, Rob? Are you somewhere that's like near a city in North Carolina? Out here, see where.
Rob is mute.
Right. That would assume I'm in North Carolina.
All right, I'm not trying to place you. Not trying to place you, Rob. Wherever you're at.
About half the year I'm in North Carolina.
Got it. Wherever you're at, I'm sure you're somewhere very nice. Out here, there's like every other driveway has a broken CRT television at the end of it. Because that's how we do it.
That would not fly in my home neighborhood.
No? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty. See, where I live, they don't even have a police force. It's such a small town.
That's quite good, actually. That means you can just.
Yeah.
Actually, I can actually call up the public works in my community, and they'll drive out and pick up any computer recycling.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
I just set it on the curb, tell them it's out there. They come pick it up and then recycle it for me.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
My brother, he just brought out the NES to play with his son. And they were playing all these games. And they couldn't play Duck Hunt because it requires one of those.
Oh, CRT with the
way it.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Oh, that's amazing. I remember when I was 9, we got the NES, and I had my friend. I'm saying his name. My friend John was over, and my dad had one of those giant like flat screen TVs that was like 6 feet deep with the giant tube. You know what I'm saying? And the screen was like textured. My friend had never seen it before, and we were playing Duck Hunt on it, like blowing our minds on the big screen. And my friend walks up and runs the gun along the front of the screen with a giant scrape on it. My dad lost his shit. He was so angry. Oh man, that's a great. I love that memory. That's a good memory right there. Those TVs had character back in the day. They were so huge and crazy.
We have an interesting attachment to memories here.
I do.
You know, when my friend almost died because my.
But he's fine now. Now it's one of our favorite stories that he almost died. It was good.
Speaking of going way back, I've got one of these babies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Where'd you get that? Did you mod that yourself?
No. I bought it. I collect them. I collect like old school consoles.
That looks amazing right there.
Oh god, the Nintendo is that 64? It's old school now.
Oh yeah.
I feel old. I know it is. It makes sense, but oh man, I remember when that was like cutting edge.
We were talking about Dreamcast earlier. I mean,
I've got one of them as well.
Oh, those things are great.
How much money did that Shenmue 3 Kickstarter raise? What was it, like 11 million or something?
No. Ridiculous.
Did it really go that high? Wow.
It was a lot of money. It was more money than I thought they would get. I don't know who donated it all, obviously, but who knows?
A lot of people.
I guess, yes, a lot of money, for sure. A lot of people gave lots of money for that. I never played Shenmue. I don't even really know.
It was great. I played it through on there. It was, you know what? I don't know. I would wonder. I'd be curious to see if it aged well. I don't know if I could go back and replay it now, but at the time. A weird game. I mean,
right.
You know, it had this sort of semi-open world at the time when that was really novel, and the graphics were really cutting edge at the time. But at the same time, there was also a chapter where you were a guy that drove a forklift. You had a job where you drove a forklift and, like, you know, moved crates. And
I thought,
that was what
wasn't it just like kind of
a while.
Like a cultural curiosity, right? It was just like, this is a strange kind of meta game.
It's a good thing relatives aren't like video games, right? We like, Grandma, you were great when I was young, but now I don't know if I could go back and play you.
You don't do anything interesting anymore, Grandma.
Yeah, right.
Sit in your chair.
I have Shenmue 2.
I'm sorry, I missed that. That's exactly how I relate with my family.
It used to be so much fun before you collected all those books on your bookshelf. Now you just sit in your chair.
I'm not talking about
Interesting.
Boy, that was quick.
Went right downhill. I feel the same way. I don't know. I haven't played a really old game in a long time. I saw Steven just broke out his Game Boy. Steven, what do you have on there? Do you have Pokemon? What was it? Black and White, or was it Red? Was it Red on the old school Game Boy?
Oh, red. Lovely.
Sort of greenish.
Greenish, that's what it is.
Greenish.
Can I tell you, Pokemon?
No, which was the Pokemon on that?
No, that's Leaf, isn't it?
Leaf, that's what it is. You're right.
Pokemon's still going strong. My nephew, and this is no joke, he was in Boston. His whole family got paid to take essentially a half-a-week trip to Boston because he was like participating as like a 10-year-old in like the World Championships of Pokemon. Like he goes to these little local things. You do well enough, the Pokemon company gives you stipends, and like he's got scholarship money at this point.
Esports is no fucking joke these days. People are like,
you need to get his autograph. You need to get his autograph. You can put that stuff up on eBay, man.
It's crazy, man. He's like, I mean, he's in the juniors or whatever, and like he apparently didn't do as well as he wanted to at Worlds, but he's like ranked, and like next year it's in San Francisco, so they're really hoping he does well again, so that they get like it costs them nothing. The Pokemon people paid them money to like get there, to stay in a hotel.
There you go.
Dude, at the end of the day, all we can say is like nothing beats this.
I love Boston.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now you guys have got me. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen because I am gonna show you something
Here we go.
with Screenshot Saturday. You guys might appreciate this, and you guys let me know what you think of this. So the newest version, when I let me see here.
That's me.
So when you go in here and you load it up, that looks ugly, but ignore it. So you've got all these things. Somebody's been spamming these things. When you click it, note the little thing at the bottom. We got a Super Nintendo cart as the.
I like that.
So I'm gonna have buttons. Gonna have buttons in these little things. So
no, it's a game cart, Jason. It's not a Nintendo game cart. It's just a cart.
Well, I said it's a Super Nintendo cart.
No, it's just a game cart. Don't call it anything.
Is that an official? Is that?
It's not a Super Nintendo cart either.
Exactly. It's just a game cart.
Okay, I got my mic on. Yeah, this is.
So you guys
talk
like
with my microphone on.
Cart as menu thing? You guys think that's okay?
I think it's good. It looks great.
Sweet.
I think it's real good.
Mm-hmm. This is one thing I've realized. It's when you're using one hashtag. It's the Screenshot Saturday doesn't tend to get spammed, but some of these other ones, if you're following like the indie dev hashtag, these are technically different tweets, which is why they show up multiple times. It's like by different users, and it's hard to weed out. Like if it's using the exact same text, I can try and weed it out, but the URL to the image is different. So
Black Shell Games is all about spamming those screenshots somehow. I don't know how they do that. I guess they just have a bot or something.
The images, the final portion of the link, are they all different?
yeah, they are. That's why it's
they're
so.
unique
I check because that's the thing too. I check to make sure, like if I make sure I don't include retweets, and I make sure if it's pointing to the same image URL, it will exclude it if it's already loaded a tweet that goes to that. But if it's a different user with a different URL, it's hard to weed it out.
Charles, Rob just put something in the chat. Are we?
Yeah.
Do you have to? Or
Do I have to read it? No.
That's Rob's de facto right there.
Making sure I don't get sued.
He doesn't want to get sued. I don't know nothing about no carts.
Into
Oh, fair. Oh, I see what you said. You know what? I was stupid. I didn't follow what you were saying in terms of the whole Super Nintendo cart thing. Yeah, no, it's not. It's just a shape.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. It's just some game cart. Never seen
I'm
it
pretty
before.
sure. I'm pretty sure I'm okay with that. But you know, we'll see. I don't know. If I get a cease and desist, I guess I'll have to figure it out.
There's a guy who made a really cool Android, and I think it's iOS too, game, and their icon is like kind of, it is reminiscent of an NES cart kind of shape, but they never, refer to it as an NES cart. I mean, all those are trademarked wild style. Like, I would never want to come up against a cease and desist from Nintendo. That would be really annoying.
I would just cease and desist.
Right. Exactly.
I'm still holding the belief that's why Flappy Bird went out of the App Store. But
No, but it came back, didn't it?
no,
At some point, I thought it did.
no, he made another game.
Okay.
That copter thingy.
Yeah.
Another impossible to play game.
Copter swing,
Which was even worse, yeah.
a swing copter or whatever. Yeah,
I remember when Flappy Bird was like all the rage, and like some of my, my wife's like friends' kids came over to the house for dinner or whatever, and they were messing with this Flappy Bird game, and I was like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "Oh man, I almost got a 50. This is great." I'm like, what? This is the worst thing ever. Why are you guys even looking at this? This is terrible.
Yeah, well, he made a fair chunk of money of it.
I'm not, and that's the thing, it wasn't really that bad. After I got to looking at it, like I hadn't played it, I was just like, this looks ridiculous. But then you think about it, it's like what he's got, it's genius the way that they did what they did. Or he did what he did.
Yeah, it's so simple and so stupid, it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
The culture around the game was so much more interesting than the game itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to talk about Flappy Bird.
Anyway.
All right, good memories. No, speaking of Flappy Bird,
You see, though, this is the value of this app when I finally release it. How else would you know about Riffzilla, everybody?
Oh shit, Riffzilla's out? I gotta check that.
well, Ed muted himself, but didn't you make like a shaving Flappy Bird kind of thing? Oh, Ed's gone.
Yeah, you blew my my camera blew up when you said that.
Oh, right.
Yes, I did.
Didn't you make like a shave Flappy Bird
yes,
kind of thing?
shaving face. I made it for a client.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. What I mean is, I don't want to talk about Flappy Bird because Flappy Bird was it was a complete accident, right?
It was, and that's why it was so interesting. The way that it happened, like the game obviously is whatever. There are thousands of games that do the exact same thing, but the way that it happened, it will never happen again like that ever again. It was just so fascinating.
Are you sure?
No, he got really.
What was that game just recently? It was making $42 million or $4.2 million a day.
Crossy Road?
No, well maybe, but no. Some Japanese game was making it in the Japanese market. There was an article
Well, that's
on
different.
Future.
That's different.
I know we're running out of time. Have you guys played the Crossy Road guys Pac-Man game?
No.
No, but
Fun. They made this weird sort of mashup, endless Pac-Man maze thing.
It's like the 256 or something?
Yeah, it's free, and it uses their sort of aesthetic, and it's sort of isometric 3D, but it's free. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I had wondered about the licensing on that.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
Bandai Namco, whoever owns Pac-Man, like essentially, hired them to develop it and publish it themselves.
Yeah, with something like Crossy Road under your belt, I'm sure it's easy to swing something like that. Yeah, right. So, all right, guys. Well, I think we got to wrap it up. We're 2 hours in, so it's a good conversation. Good place.
Okay, that's a good start. Let's go. You still have hard drive space, right?
Yeah, right. Sure. It's all streamed right to Google, so they can
Right to your server, Ed, so make sure we can get those emails.
Okay, let me get that address for you.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a good week. Don't work too hard. Take it easy.
Definitely.
No, work extra hard and send me all your monies.
Yep. And, all right. And Jason.
Ed.com.
Jason,
Jason,
we want to see that button for sending you money.
Yeah, all right. Well,
you need a send me money button.
I've got my homework.
That's your assignment, man. We're gonna hound you on social media until we.
As assignments go, that one's not too bad.
Yeah, right. All right.